You've got to be joking, I muttered, staring at the translucent tactical display floating above the mission table. This is the species we're supposed to conquer? The planet slowly rotated in mid-air, lush, blue, and oblivious. Its civilization barely scraped interplanetary capability. Across from me, Fleet Commander Turok gave what I'd learned to recognize as the Vexillian version of an exasperated sigh. His facial ridges twitched, subtle but full of contempt. That's exactly why High Command picked them, Lieutenant Mira, he said, gesturing dismissively through the hologram. The Terrans are ideal. They're advanced enough to mount a struggle, but backward enough that we won't suffer any real losses. It's a training op, nothing more. I frowned. Something about the intelligence logs made both my stomachs churn. Yes, both. We Vexillians evolved with dual stomachs, useful for long-duration campaigns. Right now, both were doing flips. With all due respect, sir, I said, I've been analyzing their broadcasts. These humans are volatile. Turok let out a bark of laughter, harsh and metallic. Several ensigns flinched. Volatile? Lieutenant, they're barely evolved ape. Their military capabilities are centuries behind. No plasma weapons. No control over gravitational fields. No faster-than-light travel. They still use ballistic ammunition and crude nuclear tech. He widened the holographic projection, mapping out Earth's military infrastructure, primitive silos and scattered bases across continents. Our fleet will enter orbit, establish dominance, and deploy strike teams to critical zones. We estimate planetary capitulation within 48 Earth hours. Perfect for the cadets to get their first taste of combat. Zendar, our chief of intelligence, cleared his throat. There are a few Earth-based military units showing irregular patterns, Commander. They call them Special Forces. Their performance metrics exceed the species baseline. Turok waved him off. Minor complication. Our regular troops can handle them. This is a live drill. The outcome is already determined. Still, my instincts flared. Sir, their history. They've been in a constant state of war for thousands of years. Internal conflicts, civil unrest, empire collapses. They're always fighting each other. Turok sneered. Any species can seem fierce when battling its own kind. Let's see how they fare against someone far superior. With that, the session ended. Sector assignments were issued. I was tasked with overseeing operations in a territory they labeled North America, supposedly home to their more sophisticated military zones. As I turned to leave, Turok called out, "Lieutenant Mira." I paused. "I understand your reservations. But that's why we're here. Theory alone doesn't create warriors. These humans will offer just enough resistance to toughen our troop. That's all." "Yes, Commander," I said, nodding. "And Lieutenant, lose that worried look. You're setting a poor tone for the younger officers." I forced my facial ridges into what I hoped resembled confidence and marched out to prep for deployment. 3 solar rotations later, our warships emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Terran system. 20 capital vessels, each one carrying thousands of Vexillian soldiers, with assault craft, atmospheric carriers, and orbital bombardment platforms, hovered like silent gods. The plan wasn't planetary annihilation. You don't hone soldiers on a corpse world. Cloaking engaged, Navigation Officer Pell reported. Approaching outer perimeter. No contact. Any sign they've spotted us? I asked. None. Their sensor grid is obsolete. We're invisible. I watched as we drifted past their gas giant. A few mining colonies dotted their moons, but nothing of real concern. Their energy focus remained concentrated on their homeworld. Orbital insertion in 6 Earth hours, Pell added. Initiating descent alignment. As the bridge crew coordinated adjustments, I reviewed the strike plans. My division was to hit a location called Fort Bragg, apparently one of their elite defense centers. Human special forces train there. "Lieutenant," said Communications Officer Vex, "you should see this." I crossed the deck to her terminal. She had intercepted and translated encrypted Terran communications. Her expression was tight. "They know we're coming," she said. "What?" I whispered, stunned. "They've activated multiple encrypted channels, military grade. They're mobilizing across several regions. Somehow, they've spotted us." "That's impossible. Our stealth matrix is centuries beyond their scanning range." She gave a slight nod. "I verified it 3 times. They shouldn't be able to see us, but they do." I bolted back to my console and opened an urgent channel to the flagship. "Commander Turok," I said. "The humans are responding. They've detected us. I'm requesting authorization to initiate ground deployment ahead of schedule." There was a beat of silence before the response came. "Impossible," Commander Turok's voice finally growled through the channel. "Their detection systems are too primitive." "Nonetheless, sir," I pressed, "they're already mobilizing. We need to act now." Another pause. Then, "Proceed. Initiate Phase 1. Let's see how they react to a real demonstration of power." With that, our ships broke formation, a silent, methodical descent into conquest. Each vessel branched off, assuming positions over major population centers and military zones across the planet. My ship, the Dominator, slipped into low orbit above the continent they called North America, settling above its eastern coast like a sword waiting to fall. "Planetary defenses?" I asked sharply. "Negligible," Weapons Officer Krell replied. "A few outdated missile platforms. Some orbital satellites. Nothing our shields can't shrug off. Prepare dropships. First wave deploys in 30 minutes." A chorus of acknowledgments echoed around the bridge. Despite my earlier doubts, adrenaline surged through me. This was it, my first real command in a live operation, even if it was technically just a training scenario. "Lieutenant!" Vex, our comms officer, suddenly called out. "Multiple launches detected from the surface." I turned toward her, unconcerned. "Defensive missiles?" Her voice faltered. "No. They're drop pods." I blinked. "Excuse me." "They're deploying pods into orbit. Hundreds. Maybe thousands." My heart pounded. That couldn't be right. Our data said the humans didn't have any orbital insertion capability. The tactical display confirmed it. Clusters of fast-moving objects were rising from the planet's surface, curving upward toward our fleet like a swarm of angry hornet. "Incoming transmission," Vex added. "It's from Earth. Audio and video feed." "Put it on." The display snapped into motion. A human face filled the screen, male by their binary standards. Close-cropped hair, square jaw, eyes weathered by command and conflict. "This is General Frank Harrison, Earth Defense Force," he said firmly. "You are in violation of sovereign Earth airspace. Withdraw immediately. You have 60 seconds before we respond with force." I stared, dumbfounded. "Earth Defense Force?" I whispered. There had been no mention of such an organization in any of our briefings. "Scan those pods," I barked. "What's in them?" Krell's fingers danced across his interface. "They're manned. Each pod carries a human soldier. Armor-clad. Heavily armed." "With what?" I asked. I can't recognize half the loadouts. This isn't in any database." "That's impossible," I muttered again. Vex's voice went sharp. "Pods are shifting course. They're locking onto our ships. Direct impact trajectories. Raise shields. Full strength." I snapped. "Activate point defense." But we were already out of time. The first wave of Terran pods slammed into our hull like guided meteors. Magnetic clamps sealed them against the outer plating. The impact reverberated through the ship like hammer strikes. "Breach reported," shouted the damage officer. "Sectors 7 through 12 compromised. They're cutting through the hull. Deploy security," I ordered, drawing my sidearm. "Hold all choke points. Don't let them through." "How many?" I asked, eyes on the display. 53 hostiles on board," Krell confirmed grimly. "They're moving in coordinated teams. sweeping decks as they go. I activated the ship-wide intercom. All hands, this is Lieutenant Mira. We are under direct attack. Battle stations. Repel all boarders. This is not a drill. Weapons fire echoed through the corridors, distant but drawing closer. Our internal cams showed them. Human soldiers in black exoarmor, moving with sharp, practiced discipline. They advanced swiftly, clearing hallways with surgical precision. Vex? I asked, breath short. Fleet-wide alerts, sir, she whispered. Every ship is being boarded. The humans are hitting all of us. This was madness. These were supposed to be primitives, a warm-up mission. Instead, they were storming our warships using gear we didn't even know they had. Status on our boarders? I asked. They've secured engineering, reported Chief Drav through the comm. Our power core is offline. Staff are dead or detained. They're advancing toward the bridge. Seal all access points. I ordered. Prepare for breach. Too late. The main bridge doors exploded inward in a burst of white-hot shrapnel. Sparks and smoke engulfed the forward deck. Through the haze, 3 human figures emerged, armored head to toe in sleek, matte black combat suits. Their silhouettes were eerie. Faceless, silent, and lit by blue energy nodes pulsing across their limbs and chests. Bridge security opened fire. It didn't matter. The energy blast struck them but fizzled harmlessly against their armor. The humans returned fire instantly, compact rifles that spat kinetic fury. Precision shots. Fatal ones. In less than 10 seconds, half my crew was down. I lifted my weapon, even knowing it was useless. One of them approached, tall, confident, rifle aimed center mass. Up close, I could see the insignia on their shoulder plate. A winged skull, diving through storm clouds, the words, Orbital Drop Shock Troopers, beneath it. Bridge secure, the human said, voice filtered through a mechanical speaker. Transfer captives to the holding bay. Command wants this vessel intact. Command. I managed to say, disarmed and dazed. The soldier paused, then reached up and retracted their visor. A human woman. Her dark eyes met mine without a trace of fear. Captain Eliza Reeves, the armored woman said, tapping the insignia on her chest. 7th Orbital Drop Regiment. Her lips twisted into a slight upward curl, what I would later learn humans call a smirk. Welcome to Earth, aliens. Apologies for the less than warm welcome, but we're not big on unexpected visitors. I stood frozen, struggling to comprehend the absurdity of what was happening. This isn't possible, I said quietly. Your species doesn't have this level of technology. Our intelligence files. Your intel sucks, she cut in flatly. You're not the first extraterrestrials who thought Earth would be easy pickings. Let's just say, we've been expecting company. Another human approached from behind her, his face still hidden beneath his helmet. Captain, he said, engine room is locked down. Their FTL system is intact. Our tech crew says it's compatible with ours. Excellent, Reeves nodded. High Command's going to have a field day with that. What's the situation with the rest of the fleet? 80% of their ships have been boarded and are under control, the soldier reported. The remainder are trying to run, but Hammerfall and Excalibur are in pursuit. I couldn't process it. This wasn't defense, this was conquest. We weren't just being resisted, we were being taken. You've made a catastrophic mistake, I said, summoning what was left of my authority. The Vexillian Empire controls over 300 systems. Once High Command hears of this, they'll send a real invasion force. To my shock, Captain Reeves laughed. A short, sharp sound, unafraid and amused. Funny, she said. That's exactly what the Craxer said. And the Zontari before them. She stepped closer, her voice quieter but no less confident. Want to know where their fleets are now? Integrated into ours. Your ships are about to join the Earth Defense Fleet. My mind spun. Other species had attempted to invade Earth? We had no reports, no records, no warnings. Nothing in our entire galactic intelligence network. How did we miss this? I whispered. Why didn't we know what you were really capable of? She gave a casual shrug. Because we didn't want you to know. Earth figured out long ago that the galaxy isn't exactly neighborly. So we played dumb, let everyone think we were just a bunch of hairless apes with fireworks. She knocked her knuckle against her armored chest. Meanwhile, we've been upgrading, adapting, and learning. Every enemy who tries to conquer Earth leaves behind something useful. This suit? It's based on Zontari engineering. Your warp drive? That's going to help us leap even further. Her voice dropped lower. Every threat makes us stronger. And just like that, the realization hit me, we hadn't walked into a simulation. We had marched straight into a trap. Take the lieutenant to the holding area, Reeves ordered. And make sure they're treated well. We're going to be seeing a lot of them. As I was escorted away by 2 soldiers, I cast one last glance back at the tactical screen. Our proud fleet, the elite of the Vexillian Empire, was being torn apart. Not by overwhelming force, but by humans we had foolishly dismissed as a warm-up. Turok had been right about one thing. This was educational. Unfortunately, we were the ones being taught. The place they called a detention center defied all expectations. No cages. No crude restraints. Just spacious quarters, surprisingly comfortable, shared with other captured officers, including Fleet Commander Turok himself. He was pacing, rage etched across every ridge of his face. This is an outrage, he barked, for what must have been the 10th time. A complete violation of every known combat protocol. I let out a bitter laugh, startling a few others. Protocols? Commander, we invaded their planet. I doubt they care about our rules. He froze mid-stride, eyes sharp. Watch your tone, Lieutenant. This is only temporary. Once we fail to report, the Empire will dispatch a recovery fleet. And they'll be captured too, I said, pointing toward the window. Outside, humans in uniform swarmed over our grounded ships, dismantling, scanning, adapting. Like curious engineers picking apart a puzzle. They're already mining us for tech. The door hissed open. Captain Reeves stepped in, now clad in a formal navy blue uniform rather than combat armor. She was flanked by 2 others, a silver-haired male in military regalia and a dark-skinned female in a white lab coat, tapping notes on a glowing tablet. Good morning, Reeves said brightly. Hope the rooms are to your liking. Turok clenched his jaw. You're detaining officers of the Vexillian Empire without cause. This is an act of war. The older man stepped forward. Funny, he said. That's exactly what we thought when your fleet breached our solar boundary. He turned his attention to me. General Harlan Porter, Earth Defense Force. And this, he added, gesturing to the woman beside him, is Dr. Nadia Patel, head of our Xenotech division. Dr. Patel studied us like we were lab specimens. Remarkable biology, she murmured. Dual cardiovascular system. Subdermal skeletal reinforcement at key joint. Evolution on a planet with higher gravity, perhaps? 1.3 Earth standard. Confirmed, I said automatically, before catching myself. Turok shot me a murderous glare. We're not here to satisfy your curiosity, he snapped. We demand an audience with your planetary leadership. We have rights under the Interstellar Accords. Reeves and Porter exchanged a glance, one part amusement, one part pity. You still don't get it, she said. You're not POWs. You're educational materials. What the hell does that mean? I asked, a knot tightening in my gut. Dr. Patel didn't even look up from her tablet. It means, she said calmly, you're going to help us understand your technology, whether you like it or not. Turok drew himself up, stretching to his full imposing height, just shy of 7 feet. His voice rang with defiance. Vexillian soldiers are trained to withstand all forms of interrogation. You will learn nothing from us. General Porter let out a weary sigh and rubbed the bridge of his nose. Always with that same line, he muttered. The Zontari admiral said nearly the same thing, word for word. He nodded toward Captain Reeves. Go ahead. Show them. Reeves tapped her wrist console. A nearby wall shimmered to life, revealing a projection, images that sent a chill down my spine. Shit. Vexillian warships. Not from our fleet, but older models, unmistakably ours. The hulls had been modified, painted with new markings. But the structure, the drive cores, there was no denying it. They had been folded into a human strike fleet. Turok's voice came out as a whisper. That can't be. We have no record of previous contact with Earth. Dr. Patel was already scrolling through data on her tablet. Of course you don't, she said smoothly. We make sure of that. We send back the ones we don't keep, after a little memory adjustment. The rest, we study. Wait, I said sharply, seizing on her wording. You send captives back? Captain Reeves nodded. Most of them. Once we've extracted the knowledge we need and done some rewiring. We're not savages, Lieutenant. We just do what's necessary to survive in a galaxy that keeps dropping hostile visitors on our doorstep. General Porter stepped toward the window, gesturing at the sprawling complex outside, massive hangars and research bays crawling with activity. Earth's been getting visits for the last 3 centuries, he said. Some peaceful, most not. We figured out pretty quickly we were behind in the tech race, but we had something most of you don't. What was it? I asked, unable to stop myself. Porter turned to face me, his expression serious. You all underestimate us. Every time. You judge us by what we choose to show the galaxy. Outdated satellites, slow ships, limited weapons systems. You never consider we might be hiding something. Dr. Patel picked up the thread. After the first major incursion attempt in 2089, the Kroxar, a species obsessed with mining Earth's oceans, we adopted a new strategy. Maintain the illusion of weakness. Present a primitive facade. Meanwhile, build in secret. I exhaled slowly. The orbital drop troopers, they're not just shock troops. They're your counter-invasion force. Captain Reeves gave me a pleased look. You catch on quick, Lieutenant. Yes. The ODST was built for exactly this purpose. To intercept enemy forces before they could deploy, board enemy vessels, disable them intact, and repurpose what we can. Capture, not kill. General Porter folded his arms. And now your fleet is next. Particularly your neural shielding. Dr. Patel is eager to understand how it works. Suddenly, Turok lunged forward with a guttural growl, only to slam into an invisible force barrier separating us from the humans. You'll learn nothing from us, he roared. Dr. Patel didn't even blink. We don't need your permission. Most of you will be returned, with carefully rewritten memories. As always. You'll erase what happened here? I asked, horrified. Of course, she said. Your report will say the exercise was a failure due to a solar flare that caused severe system damage. A few ships lost, a handful of crew dead. But nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing to suggest Earth is more than a backwater world. You've done this before, I said in disbelief. Many times. 17 confirmed incursions in the last 100 years alone, General Porter replied. Each one made us stronger. Reeves glanced at her wrist device. General, the Council's waiting for your debrief. They'll want the rundown on our latest acquisitions. Porter gave a nod and turned to leave. We'll talk more soon, he said. Those who cooperate will receive better treatment. Those who resist. Well, we've planned for that too. They turned to go. Wait. I called out. You said most of us would be returned. What about the rest? Captain Reeves paused at the door. Some individuals are more valuable than others, she said. Those with rare knowledge, deep technical expertise, or, her eyes locked onto mine, those with unusually flexible thinking. The door slid shut behind them. Turok spun toward me immediately, his fury boiling over. You've said far too much already, Lieutenant. Do not forget your loyalty. You swore an oath to the Empire. but his words barely registered. My mind was racing, connecting dots, rearranging everything I thought I knew. Commander, this turns our entire understanding of this region on its head. Earth isn't backward. It's a predator, a hidden collector, and we walked right into its jaws. It doesn't matter, Turok snapped. We resist. We protect what we know. We wait for extraction. There won't be extraction, I said quietly, because no one will know we're missing. 3 Earth days later, I was removed from the detention quarters. The guards didn't say a word. They took me to a very different facility. No cells, no restraints. This place was sleek, spacious. Clean laboratories, testing ranges, large transparent walls showing green fields and distant drone activity. Dr. Patel met me in a room that looked more like a peaceful conference lounge than a prison. "Welcome to the Advanced Technologies Integration Facility," she said with a nod. "We call it the ATAF. This is where we learn how to make alien tools our own." She gestured toward a chair. "Please, sit. We have a lot to discuss." "Why am I here?" I asked, though I already had a sinking suspicion. Dr. Patel didn't hesitate. "Your file lists you as a tactical systems expert, with supplementary training in xenobiology. But more importantly," she leaned slightly forward, "your mindset appears far more open than your fellow officers." She slid a slim data tablet across the table. On the screen, what looked disturbingly like a contract. "We'd like to offer you a position." I stared at the screen, blinking. "You want me to work for you?" "Not against your people," she clarified calmly. "We don't seek to harm the Vexillian Empire. Our doctrine is defensive. But yes, we want your help in merging your technology with ours." "And if I say no?" I asked flatly. Dr. Patel's tone didn't change. "Then you'll receive the same memory adjustment as the others. You'll be returned to your people with no memory of this facility, this conversation, or the truth about Earth." She paused, then added softly, "But before you decide, there's something I'd like you to see." She led me through a series of corridors to a cavernous hangar. The moment the doors opened, I stopped short. Inside, a ship towered over us, sleek, elegant, and alien. A masterwork of design that bore hallmarks from multiple spacefaring civilizations, including unmistakable traces of Vexillian engineering. "This," said Dr. Patel with pride in her voice, "is the Prometheus, Earth's first true deep space explorer. She's been constructed using hybrid technologies from 7 alien species." She walked slowly toward it, hand gesturing with reverence. "Faster than a Zontari cruiser. Heavier firepower than a Kraxer dreadnought. Cloaking systems so refined, she's invisible to every scan protocol we've tested." I frowned. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because I want you to understand," she said gently. "We're not just defending Earth anymore. We're preparing to step onto the galactic stage." She pointed toward a team working on the ship's underbelly. "Look closer." I did, and my ridges involuntarily tightened. Among the engineers and technicians were non-humans. A Zontari, 2 Kraxer, and, my breath caught, a Vexillian. No mistaking it, not with that unique facial ridge pattern. "You're working with aliens?" I asked in disbelief. "They weren't forced," she said. "They chose to stay. They saw value in what we're building. A cooperative future." "Defectors?" I asked, my voice low and disbelieving. A familiar voice answered behind me. "We prefer immigrants," said Captain Reeves as she strode into view. "Or if you want the diplomatic spin, expatriates." I turned toward the Vexillian among the crew. He had noticed us and was already approaching. The moment he got close enough, recognition struck. "Chief Engineer Morden?" I gasped. "You were declared missing 3 cycles ago. Your entire crew vanished in the Cygnus sector." He nodded, the motion subtle, respectful. "Lieutenant Mira," he said. "No, we weren't lost. We tried to survey a world that, it turns out, was an Earth colony in disguise. They captured us. And you stayed." I demanded. To help them. At first, I had no choice, Mordin admitted, shrugging, a distinctly human gesture. Then, I stayed out of curiosity. And now, he motioned toward the Prometheus. Now I stay because this is the most complex, beautiful challenge I've ever faced. Integrating tech from different evolutionary paths. It's history-making work. Captain Reeves stepped beside him. Earth didn't want this, she said. We didn't ask to become a testing ground for every invading fleet. But rather than respond with vengeance, we decided to build something better. A better future held together by stolen technology, I said, arms crossed. A fair criticism, she acknowledged. But tell me, how should we have responded when dozens of alien empires tried to conquer us? Dr. Patel rested her hand gently on my forearm. We're offering you something unique, Lieutenant. A role in a new kind of alliance. One that isn't based on conquest or submission, but on shared innovation. I looked around, from Patel's hopeful eyes, to Mordin's steady gaze, to the ship that stood like a monument to what shouldn't have been possible. How many others have agreed to this? I asked quietly. Roughly 3% of captured personnel, Reeves answered. We don't offer it to everyone. Only those with potential. Those who show adaptability. And the rest. They go home. Their minds adjusted. They report a routine mission failure, maybe a radiation burst, or a software glitch. Nothing that hints at what really happened. Tarak will do the same. I stared at the glowing console embedded in the wall. My thoughts churned. Return to the Empire as a pawn in a false narrative? Never know what really happened? Or stay here, essentially turn my back on everything I'd sworn loyalty to, and gain access to knowledge far beyond anything I'd imagined? I need time, I said at last. Reeves gave a small nod. Of course. She handed me a slender, matte black communicator. When you're ready, she said, just press this. That night, I stood by the window in my quarters. The stars shone like cold beacons beyond the reinforced glass. Somewhere out there, the Vexillian Empire continued expanding. Still dismissing Earth as irrelevant. Still blind to what lurked behind its fragile mask. They didn't know they had already lost. The door chimed softly. At my signal, it opened to reveal Mordin, who entered with quiet familiarity and took a seat across from me, one designed for Vexillian anatomy. You still torn? He asked gently. I met his eyes. Wouldn't you be? This feels like betrayal. He tilted his head and gave a dismissive wave. Betrayal of what, exactly? An empire that uses living civilizations as battlefield simulations? That sends us to overrun primitive species for training drills. I had no rebuttal. He was right. Our mission to Earth had been steeped in arrogance, and ended in humiliation. What's it like? I asked instead. Working with them? He leaned forward, his voice thoughtful. Challenging. Maddening. Inspiring. He paused. Humans don't think the way we do. They don't build knowledge step by step. They leap, sometimes irrationally, often brilliantly. They mix concepts from completely different systems and find solutions we'd never consider. It's chaos, but it works. And they trust you? I asked. After everything we tried to do to them? Mordin chuckled. Eventually. Trust isn't given freely here. It's earned. But once they believe you're genuine, they'll meet you halfway. He grew serious. There's something else. Something that helped me make my decision. I leaned forward. What is it? There are powers out there far worse than the Vexillian Empire, he said. Species the humans call the Harvesters. The name alone sent a chill down my spine. They don't invade to conquer, Mordin continued. They consume. They strip planets down to their cores. Nothing is left but dead rock. I frowned. I've never heard of them. You wouldn't. They operate well beyond the Empire's patrol range. But they're moving this direction. His voice lowered. The humans, and their growing coalition, are preparing for that. The ship you saw, the Prometheus? It's not just a research vessel. It's a prototype, the first of what they hope will become a multi-species defense fleet. I sat back slowly, the scope of it sinking in. This wasn't just about Earth defending itself. This was about something far bigger. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because this isn't about loyalty to the Empire versus a comfortable lab job, Morden said. It's about survival. Of everyone. And you need to understand what's at stake. I studied his face, watched the conviction in his eyes. He believed in this, not because he had to, but because he saw the truth. If what you say is real, I said carefully, then I'll need proof. He nodded. They'll show you. They showed me. Later that night, I stood by the window of my quarters, watching Earth's moon climb over the horizon like a slow, silver tide. Somewhere out there, Turok still clung to his anger, pacing, protesting, refusing to accept that humans had bested us. He'd returned to the Empire with doctored memories and stories of solar flares and navigational failures. And the Empire would believe him, would write off the loss as just another unlucky mission. They had no idea what Earth truly was. I thought of our proud fleet, our endless expansion, our dismissal of Earth as irrelevant. We were wrong, and the galaxy's survival might depend on that miscalculation. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the communicator Reeves had given me. I pressed the activation key. Her face appeared a moment later, backlit by soft amber lights. She said nothing, just waited. I've made my decision, I told her. Her expression didn't change. And I want to see everything you have on the harvesters, I said. Everything. After that, we can talk about where I fit in. I heard the faintest hint of amusement in her voice. I thought you might say that. Welcome to Project Prometheus, Lieutenant Mira. I haven't agreed to anything yet, I warned. No, she said. But you're asking the right questions. And that's how every journey here begins. As her image faded from the screen, I looked back up at the stars. And it struck me. The humans hadn't spent decades hoarding alien tech just to keep Earth safe. They'd been quietly preparing. Every failed invasion, every captured ship, every new system reverse-engineered, all of it was part of a long, deliberate strategy. They hadn't just been surviving. They'd been training. And we, the invaders, had unknowingly become their instructors. Now, Earth stood on the brink of something far greater than retaliation. It stood at the head of a growing, hidden alliance, one that might be the galaxy's last, best hope. I found myself hoping, against all instinct and doctrine, that they would succeed. Because sometimes, the species you dismiss as backward turns out to be the one that saves everyone else. And for the first time since our fleet entered this star system, I felt something entirely unfamiliar. Hope. The humans had a saying I'd come across in their literature. Never judge a book by its cover. It seemed the galaxy had been doing exactly that. Time to turn the page.